Hello, everyone, and welcome to Transfer Spotlights, our video series highlighting the people, programs, and everything else that makes UMass great, with a specific focus on need-to-know information for transfer students. Today, we will be discussing the off-campus student life department with Derek Dunley. Derek, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, of course, no worries. Hi, my name is Derek Dunley. I'm here from Off-Campus Student Life and here to answer just some questions that you might have about living off campus as a transfer student.
Yeah, so I think to start off pretty generally, what can transfer students expect about living off campus at UMass Amherst?
Sure. Well, in a normal year, around 40% of our undergraduate population lives off campus, with a vast majority of those students living in the towns of Amherst, Sunderland, Hadley, with more graduate students living in places like Northampton or Belchertown. Western MA is, pretty quaint, with a mix of dining options and stores, especially in Amherst, built around a college population. So other towns in the area have a mix of box stores and national chains. So there's a bit of things for everybody within driving distance or on the PVTA bus network, which is free for UMass students in the area to use. There are lots of spots for hiking and other outdoor activities, plenty of coffee shops for work that you need to get done and you need to be caffeinated for. And there are a lot of different live event venues, especially centered in places like Northampton.
And that is definitely my experience living here. I think another big question, though, that students have, other than what are activities are available, if transfer students do choose to live off campus, is it easy for them to, in addition to having access to those activities, to be a part of our campus community?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is the case. Now, I think there are plenty of great reasons to live on campus. I was an RA for 3 years on campus. And if you're transferring to the area, you should definitely consider that if there's the availability to do so, to living on campus. But of course, there are so many opportunities that are on campus and virtually to engage, which off-campus students have access to. So this includes, in normal times, UMass sporting events, concerts of all sizes and tastes. And we're doing a lot of virtual concerts and things of that nature now as well. Plays, the campus recreation center, and the connected intramural programs that rely off of that, and group fitness classes. Our #1 campus dining program is still there for you to eat, of course. I'd say most importantly, you can get involved with one of our hundreds and hundreds of registered student organizations that range from club sports teams to cultural and affinity groups to groups like the Juggling Club or Squirrel Watching Club. You can check out, hopefully, the video description for links to Campus Pulse, which is the website centered around registered student organizations, which is a great way to stay connected. And also the UMass events calendar, which has more of a listing of things that we can do. And now with COVID-19 still ongoing and our new normal yet to be established, a lot of these elements are in flux, but especially going into the spring, I think we'll know a lot more about safe opportunities available to students on and off campus.
Great. So that's really great to hear, because I think it's not just, can I live off campus, but, is it something that I'm not going to be removed? So it's good to hear that they have those opportunities.
It's a big question. I mean, why would you be in the area if you weren't going to like it, right?
Exactly. So in addition to that, another question I had that a lot of students ask about is what types of housing are generally available near campus, and not just, a single or 4 room, 3 rooms, but cost as well.
Of course. Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes into that. And there's a mix of housing available in the area. There's from anything from large and small apartment complexes, from some that might be like 50 years old, some of which are brand new and will be opening right when students arrive. So there are generally different options and price points to choose from. Living in Amherst itself, so the actual town of Amherst, is generally the more expensive route when it comes to off-campus living, but it generally gets a little cheaper the further you get away from campus. Usually we say, as an average, if you were going to split a 2-bedroom apartment with somebody and you were to have 1 bedroom in that apartment, we usually say it's around $750 a month. I'm considering rent and at times major utilities that you need to contribute for that. So to give you an estimate, but those numbers can go up and they can also go down depending on what type of place you look for. There are always options regarding renting a house as well, which might be a whole house for yourself and roommates, or an apartment which takes up part of a building. And once again, the infrastructure on that's mixed with, generally, if you're living in a house, it's going to be an older place. You have to pay for more utilities, while an apartment complex might be a newer place. You have to pay for less utilities, but that might mean the rent's a little bit more expensive. To see a mix of off-campus housing options and try to find a roommate, check out our website at www.offcampushousing.umass.edu, and we'll have that link in the description as well.
Fantastic. And I think the last thing that I really wanted to ask before we end our episode today is what kinds of support services are available to transfer students if they live off campus? I think there's a worry there sometimes of I'm living off campus, is there going to be services for me as well that I can access?
No, I mean, that's a real concern. Always, I can definitely understand that. But something I will say is that UMass has a lot of supports and services available for all of its students. Off-campus students have supports when it comes to living in the area and to doing your best academically and mentally. Resources that are available to students at UMass stay the same when you're off campus. So you can schedule generally a same-day appointment with the Center for Counseling and Psychological Health, CCPH. You can always call financial aid or the bursar's office during regular business hours, and they're happy to answer questions for you. You can email with disability services. You can take advantage of the Learning Resource Center at the UMass Library and many, many more that are available to all students. But then we also have resources that are also available to all students, but are especially catered for off-campus students. So that office, I would say, includes my office, right? Off-campus student life. We can help and refer you to other offices for off-campus needs. Once again, when we can have people in the office, we usually have free coffee and things available at Transfer Lounge in Bartlett Hall. So we definitely encourage transfer and off-campus students to, use that lounge, whether you live off campus or on campus. And so if you ever aren't sure where to go for a resource, you can always email us at ocsc@sacl.umass.edu, and we'll drop that email at the end of the video as well. Just so we can refer you to other offices. There's also, we also oversee student parent programs, which is an amazing resource for transfer students, where we can assist with, if you happen to have kids while attending UMass, we have an amazing grant program, that might be able to help you pay for childcare costs. And a very important office that we partner with very closely is actually a student agency. So students directly pay for the cost of it. And it's a full-fledged law office, which is the Student Legal Services Office. And that's super helpful when it comes to legal concerns with your landlord, getting a lease read over, things of that nature. But there's so many different resources. And if you're not sure where to go, because there's just so many, you can contact us here at Off Campus Student Life. And I might not have the answer myself, but I'll get you in contact with somebody who does have the answer.
That's great to hear. I do want to mention for anyone who's interested, student parents, we're going to be talking to student parent programs in another video that you can find. We'll hopefully put a link to it in the description of this video, so you can just go right to it. But we'll be talking with them as well about their specific services that they're offering. So check out for that. Derek, thank you so much. It's really helpful to get all that specific transfer information. It's great to hear that the off-campus student center can be a center for transfer students to at least go for help, even if you're saying who to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. Come to us, and we'll connect you to the right place.